Sophie Henwood. Today I'm going to be talking about consumer behaviour. In order to understand my consumer behaviour, I need to know what market segment I'm part of. To do this, I use two marketing tools, VOWS, which looks at my personality traits, and ACON, which uses demographics, financial status and technology. According to VOWS, I'm an experiencer, therefore I buy my products and services for the feelings that they create and the memories that they also make for me as well. And according to ACON, I live in an area that is term time terraces, therefore a high amount of students, low income and high student loans. According to my experiencer personality, examples of my experience of personality are things like travelling, which I've shown pictures of here, where I went around South America, also going to bars, restaurants with my friends. And with Acorn, they say that there's high technology, therefore a lot of online buying, which things like Depop applications, where I buy a lot of my clothes. I would also describe myself as an ethical consumer, therefore I like to know the provenance of every product and service that I buy. I would describe myself as a highly ethical consumer. I buy products from environmentally friendly companies, sustainable companies, things like Fair Trade, the Rainforest Alliance and anti-sweatshops. I do this because I believe that every person, similar to most people in my demographic, feel like you should make an active contribution in helping the planet, helping the environment and giving people the chance of a better quality of life. Examples of these purchases are things like Lush, which have luxury cosmetics and toiletries. They support campaign against anti-animal testing. They have bags that show this. They also produce vegetarian and vegan products, which in turn helps the environment as well. I also use applications like Depop, where I buy my clothes second-hand. This means fewer sweatshops, less mass production of clothing, and also it plays into my values of looking for good value, good quality, so I can buy quality clothes at second hand for a good price. I also like to go into charity shops and look for my clothes there, where I'm actively contributing to charities and I'm getting a good value product. I like to go on ethicalconsumer.org as well to check out a company's ethics before I buy from them. So if I find out that they do animal testing or they exploit people or use sweatshops, I'm less likely to buy from them. However, it must be noted that because of my demographic, so the fact that I'm a student, I have a low income and a lot of student debt, sometimes I can't always be ethical in my consumption, as usually ethical products are at a premium price. Also, it doesn't transcribe into every product I buy. For instance, I like to buy a coffee before I go to university, and I'll buy this purely for convenience and not for ethics at all. So I'll go to Costa because they're next door to university, rather than maybe going to a own brand, like home local coffee shop that sells ethically sourced coffee, because it's just easier and more convenient. I would call myself a postmodern consumer, therefore my values do change from purchase to purchase. Although I like to be as ethical as I can be on every purchase, obviously some things the ethics don't come into it all. So for instance, if I'm buying flights to go travelling, I'm looking for the best value for money I can get. I don't want a terrible flight if it's a long haul, but I am looking for price, for the cheapest flight I can get for the best value, because at the end of the day, when I go travelling, I'm trying to make this as cheap as possible. I'm trying to save my money, be frugal, get there as quickly and cheaply as possible so I can experience as much as I can in the short period of time that I get out there. Or so if I'm buying a place to stay, a hostel, looking for a room, I'll look at the age range that it appeals to. I want the place to be sociable, and I also want basic amenities such as hot water, a shower, a kitchen I can cook in. So therefore, ethical consumption plays no part in this, and this is more value, good quality, and looking at things that I personally need. On the other side of that, when I go food shopping, I like to know that I'm buying things that are ethical again, so every single purchase has a different need, a different value and a different reason behind why I buy them. So if I buy eggs, I will buy free range organic eggs, which is ethical, whereas if I go to the pub, I'll buy a beer because it's cheap and I want the best value for money. Next I'll be looking at theory and applying theory to my consumer behaviour. I find that the most relevant theory to how I buy is the buyer's black box, therefore looking at the environment, so marketing stimuli, product, place, promotion, price, so the marketing mix plays a huge part on how I look at products, and then the environmental issues, so the demographics, so the fact that I have a low income, that plays a massive part, social cultural, so ethics, technological, online shopping, and then on the other side of that, the responses to the products that I buy, so post-consumption, how I feel about that product, would I buy it again, did it satisfy my needs as a consumer. So running through this model gives you a perfect is a perfect way at looking at how I buy my products. Another theory that I think is very applicable is the consumer decision process model, a much more in-depth model, but again going through the process of exposure to a product or the recognition for a need for a product, going through then the research, high involvement, understanding why you want that product, what I need it for, what's good about it, the provenance, is it ethical, is it sustainable, is it good value, and then once I've bought the product, then afterwards, did I feel satisfied? So again, going through a process of 3 phases: acquisition, consumption and disposal. Another theory that I like to look at was consumer culture theory. This looks at individuality and how that is a key point in people's buying behaviour. People like to feel in control of why they bought something, and this is something that I find very, very important to myself. Individuality, buying things because they suit me, not for social recognition, not for any other reason, but because I chose them. And that's what consumer culture theory explains, that individuality is the key process in every person's decision before making a purchase, so buying a product, buying a service. Is it because of what you wanted, or is it because of social issues? And theory and consumer culture theory looks at individuality, which I think plays the biggest part in any reason why I buy a product or service. Part of my consumer buying habits is the fact that I'm a rational consumer. Therefore, when I go to the supermarket, I always have a list of everything that I need to buy. I'm less impulsive. I like to know what I'm going to get and leave the store with exactly that. So therefore, I have high involvement in every product I buy. This is also due to the fact that I am an ethical consumer, so I need to know the provenance, whether it's good, sustainable, and that means that rationality has to come into that. For instance, if I was impulse buying, I don't always know whether that product would be ethical and therefore would go against my intrinsic values. This links back to theory again, the buyer's black box and the consumer decision process model, as they show high involvement in every product. So a long research period in your internal search, external search, so macro environments, macro influences, micro influences, and therefore rationality is key in using these models to understand why a consumer buys those products or services. However, again, you have to look at the fact that these aren't always applicable. So, for instance, when I talked about buying a coffee, that is convenience. It's almost an impulse buy. There is no long thought process, not high involvement into the into the reason why I bought that. Purely it's bought because it's convenient, it's next to the university, there's not a big decision making process in that, and this limits these theories in being able to use from each consumption, especially as a postmodern consumer. It makes it very hard to apply these. So this would be for high involvement, ethical consumption, but when it comes to my everyday purchases such as coffee or a bottle of water or maybe a sandwich from the shop, these models don't apply and aren't as useful as they would be for things like flights, a big food shop, or where I would go to travel. My recommendations for marketing managers in order to pinpoint me as a consumer and encourage me to buy their products or services. So first of all, I'd look at Acorn, the fact that my demographic says that I have low income, I'm a student, and also highly that I use modern technology and purchase most of my products online. So therefore, advertising online, we're constantly in social media, on websites, showing like everything, advertising their product online is more likely to catch my eye than say on the street, as I do most of my shopping online. So this is a great way to get hold of me. Also, secondly, due to my Val's experience of personality, Val's explains that visual stimulation is key to an experiencer, as you're constantly thriving, looking for something, looking for a feeling being made. Therefore, visual stimulation is really, really key on being able to grab my attention on why I would want to buy that product. So a video or a really interesting poster would grab my attention much more than a load of writing on what that product is. I need to be caught by the fact that it's so interesting visually that it would make me want to buy that product. And thirdly, if a company provides information on the provenance of their product or how their service or product helps the environment, campaigns against unethical views, and shows things like it's fair trade, or it has a good equality for employees, I'm therefore more likely to buy from that. So the combination of all three, if you use visual videos online explaining how something's made, how they help the environment, how they help the planet, would definitely capture my attention and make me want to buy that product much more than, say, passing a information billboard on the street that had no information on provenance, no visual stimulation, and was just a plain poster.